Hi everybody, my name is Mick and welcome to that episode of D'un inconnu à l'autre, or again, it's From a Stranger to Another. It's the title of my book right over here. Just here, it's also the way I want to connect with everybody from stranger to another, from heart to heart, and that's why I'm talking with you today. And today, I've been doing some teachings since the beginning of that in English, in French, etc. And I've been following a chronological order to get you to that transformation we're in it right now. But I want to go a little bit sideways today because I got invited to a rally lately in Moncton to talk about freedom and about freedom. It's a large topic and it's not just about like government that take away our freedom or whatever, but we have to define freedom as it is. So yeah, I want to talk about the speech that I made and yeah, a little bit of my story, and also I hope you can just take what I'm saying right now and apply it into your life, not just for the government, but maybe you feel you lost your freedom for with someone that is in your life, maybe with it's with your surrounding, your job or whatever. Freedom is as large, and anyway, freedom comes inside of you, will manifest itself inside of yourself, but also will we can achieve the real freedom by sharing our inner lights all together and holding hands. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So welcome to the Inconnu à l'autre, from a stranger to another. It's my bilingual podcast. You can see it on YouTube. I'm also on Spotify and other podcast platform, let's say Apple. I also have a website here, the michaelbodard.com. It's on the screen right now. And if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, everything is there. Machiavemick. It's like Machiavel, but Machiavemick. So let's go into the topic right now. I don't know how much time it's gonna last. My speech yesterday last maybe 20 minutes, but I want to go a bit more deeper. So for anybody who wasn't there, who couldn't make it anyway, it's there, and I'm gonna talk with you about freedom right now. So if you have noticed, I don't know if you have noticed, but I have an accent right now because English is not my first language. I've been speaking English fluently. English has been few years now. I live in New Brunswick, Canada, but I'm from Quebec, so I'm French speaking, of course. And so after, if you have seen my story or my book, whatever, I checked the whole country. I met my girlfriend out west, and she was coming back here in New Brunswick. This is where she's from. And so I came back in Quebec. We saw each other a little bit like distance wise. I was in Quebec, she was here, and not a long time after that, she was pregnant. So I had to move in New Brunswick to assume my responsibility, and that's a big word, responsibility, because you're gonna see anyway. Freedom is all a matter of taking your responsibility to responsibilities. So I moved in New Brunswick to have my son. He's now 2. Really, I love him more than everything in the world. And I was really, really close to my mom and I'm still close to her, but I mean, I was close to her when I was in Quebec. I was living with her for a while. Yeah. And when I decided to move, she was happy for me because I would have a kid or whatever. But at the same time, she was sad to first seeing me go, and also because she would have a grandchild, a grandkid, and she couldn't really like she wouldn't get who have the chance to meet him or to know him really much because we're still in another province. Even if we're like 10 hours apart or something, it's not a big deal. It's a beautiful drive. And so when I left, I promised her that I would go and see her every 3 months with him, so she can still get to know him and like physically see him and everything. And this is what happened for a while until that COVID thing happened, and now it's a bit more complicated, and I feel that I losing my rights, or my son is losing his rights to me to know his grandmother, and it's kind of sad, especially because we're in the same country. And some people can ask me what is my take on masks or whatever, and we can talk a lot about freedom, but that humanity aspect, social aspect, that we're losing right now, for what's happening in the world, and it's global anyway. It's not just in New Brunswick, but we gotta at least talk about that, and know, is it worth it? Is it a matter of like, being safe, that my son lost his right to know his grandmother, and it's a big right to lose. Like, we talk about, is he losing freedom? I think yes. Am I losing freedom too? I think yes, because it's my homeland and I cannot even go there. But yeah, it's all a matter of freedom and sacrifices, I guess. So that's why I'm really involved into those topics and what's happening in the world. Yeah, and we can see the difference between the two provinces anyway, and even before, if someone asks me what I really like about New Brunswick, the first, and I served so many people, in my job, and every time someone asks me that question, I always say I love the people in New Brunswick. The people is so like down to earth and so genuine and gentle and nice with everybody. I walk outside and everybody's like, is saying hi and everything, even if we don't know each other. Everybody's nice, and I really really like it in that province. I find it really special. The thing is that, I couldn't even imagine that even in New Brunswick we would lose that, because people would be scared with somebody else because of a virus that didn't really affected us, because if we compare to the movement in Quebec, and the movement or the cases in Quebec and everything. In Quebec, and guys, a positive test doesn't mean someone's sick first, but in Quebec you have like 1,000 cases a day, and in New Brunswick we have 60 cases total. I think like in 10 months there are 30 people that went to the hospital to death. It's unfortunate, but actually, if we could have dealt with that situation another way, with like really what's going on in New Brunswick, we could have saved a lot of problem, a lot of some freedom, and also a lot of businesses that are kind of struggling because of all of that, But like I said, it's a global situation, and it's not just New Brunswick or Canada or United States or whatever. It's an old world that is transforming to go in one way. So I wanted to talk about freedom, but I'm not there to revendicate or to ask for my freedom, and to talk about the facts and talk about the science and talk about the cases and whatever. I did that a little bit in French when I started my channel, but now I wanted more to talk about freedom itself, because before asking for freedom, we should know what is freedom and how we can achieve it. Um, because in every of my other videos, I always come to the same principles: as above, so below. The world that you see outside of yourself is a world that exists within you. So if you seek your freedom outside of yourself first, kind of hard to achieve. But if you really grasp your freedom inside of you, and realize that your inner light, your inner divinity makes you free, it will be really really easier to feel freedom, and once you feel it inside of yourself, you can extend it outside of yourself. Yeah, and the matter is that, like I said, it's global. It's not something that we can have some signs and protest and say, yeah, I hope that Blaine Higgs will change his mind and will convince the whole world, because that we should not have that. It's not how it works. It's the whole world. And in Quebec and in Canada, they said that we might have a second, a third, a fourth wave, that we're waiting for a vaccine. But even with a vaccine, we will have to continue to have some measures, that the world will never be the same. And they all decided that without consulting us. And in Quebec, it's because there's too many cases. In New Brunswick, they say the opposite, is because we don't have enough cases, and we want to stay the same. So I feel that all the reasons are good to implement those measures all over the world. And but I want to talk a little bit more about the protest movement, actually, because they by protesting we feel that we're grasping our freedom. We're having a big solid hold on our freedom, and this is our right to protest, and it is our right to manifest, and to the freedom of speech, but at the same time, when we really understand what's going on in the world, protesting is putting ourselves right where they want us to be. What I mean is that they want us to protest. They want us to put gas on the fire, or they want themselves to put gas on the fire to create that division. And when we protest, we play chess with them, but we do the move that they expect us to do. And we have to find a way to be ahead a little bit of them, to be at least one move ahead, and it can be tough. But let me give you an example to be really clear. I was watching a video on YouTube in French. If you speak French, you might have seen it. It's a news anchor, Mario Dumont, in Quebec. He was I don't know, doing his news things in his mainstream news or whatever, and he was supposed to put a montage on air about people who were pro mask, who were really happy to wear the mask or whatever. But what he put on air, what his team put on air, was completely the opposite. There was a montage of people that were against mask, and after letting the whole thing run, it was like, oh, that was not the right montage. And everybody on Facebook was like, oh, he's so stupid, the team is so stupid, they did that mistake. But I was a little bit more suspicious about it, because I asked myself, how could they have done that mistake? And first they did the montage of some things that they didn't want to put on air. Just there, it's kind of weird. But after that, it went all to the production process and everything, and went on air finally. Even if it's supervised by a lot of people, it went on air. And after seeing the old montage, the old cut, they said, oh, it's really odd, really really odd how they did that. And that put so much gas on fire for and after that, that brings people to protest more, create more division. And I was watching The Boys. It's a show on Amazon Prime. I don't watch a lot of shows, but I don't know, lately that show is short and sweet. So and I don't want to get into what is that show specifically, but it's a big PR movement in that show. It's a lot of PR, and how you can. It's some people that they want to be loved by like the crowd and everything. And at one point they say that you don't need to be loved by everybody. The main point is, if a few people hate you, you put the blame on them, and you're gonna reinforce the love by the people who already love you. So you have to create a contestation or opposition to make people love you too. And that makes sense. And I feel that is pretty much what's going on in Quebec. They need a big conspiration. There's so much information that we're bombarded from every sides, every different sources, and it's on purpose. They do that on purpose to divide people. And after that, when people are divided, it's not a matter of who's right or wrong, but it's a matter of, it's two small groups, we can control them better. So they need a big conspiration to put blame on first, and that's what they're doing in New Brunswick as well right now, because with what they did, that's really funny. Huh? They changed the rules like the day before the protest, and the protest was not even against mask or something, and the media were there just for the first speech. They didn't like watch the whole event or something. I was the first speech, and I didn't like talk about not wearing mask or whatever. And the medias are still saying that was an anti-mask rally for I don't know what reason. So it's like it was already built that way, that they would put measures right before a rally. Our rally was organized like a month before anyway, you know, those measures or whatever. But yeah, they changed the measures one day before the rally, and the media's right away they said it's an anti-mask rally. So it's kind of hard the way they presented that. It also, so it creates people to hate it, and to blame the problem and the cases and whatever, and it divides people. And you know, our real freedom, we're gonna achieve it when we're gonna hold hands and work all together. So dividing people, it's the best way not to achieve the real freedom. I'm not talking about if we wear a mask or not is the case of freedom or not. I'm talking about the real freedom is all working together as one. And this is what they yeah, dividing people, it's a way to cut off freedom, even if it's not what they mean to do, it is what they do too. And you know, we're all going into those global goals anyway. It's announced for 2030, those goals about those goals. And it's to go those goals, with those goals, suppressing humanity, still being productive, going to our job, and not be able to see our family or friends, or to go to my homeland or whatever. And on the other side, there's the protests that put gas on fires. And if you protest too much anyway, you're gonna just continue to divide people. So one way or another, we're kind of caught in that game of division, and that game of where, you know, we have to work with each other instead of fighting with each other. The thing is that we can feel powerless with what's going on. You know, I'm sorry, but even if you fight to go to Walmart without a mask or whatever, you might get your way, and you're gonna piss some people off. And you know, like I said, we all it's like they're putting us on a boat right now to bring us somewhere. They don't really want to tell us where they lead us in that boat. They just they're saying, "Oh, it's going to be fine. Go in that boat, and you will be safe." You know. And in actually in New Brunswick history, the Acadian people, they already lived that, like literally. And it was like, okay, you cannot be here anymore. We're gonna put you in that boat, and we're gonna ship you somewhere, and that's it. So it's kind of in our story to I don't want to say our story, but you know, my son is Acadian, so I'm gonna take it for a while. To be a bit forced to go to some place, even if we don't want to, and and to accept it a little bit, you know. So I think it's time to heal that trauma a little bit in our DNA, and say, yeah, I can be free, you know. I really can be free if I really want to. And I'm not talking about the revolution right now. um, so yeah, they're leading us somewhere we don't want to. It's worldwide. And the thing is, you know, if you know something about leadership, there is no great leader in life that's gonna put the blame on one part of the people. You know, if you want to be a great leader in life, never blame your own people. And we see right now that, you know, they use the protest movement to blame and to divide people. And they know, if you are a leader, you know that when you do that, you divide people. And it's Machiavellic. It's the prince from Machiavel, dividing to rule better, to control better. And as a leader, if you're not aware of that, you're just not a great leader. Or if you're aware of that and you still do it, still it's not a good thing. So never put the blame on your own people. And this is what they do right now. And even if you're not a leader in that cause or something, you know, putting the blame on people divide people a lot. There's no sheep, there's no conspirationist, there's no anti whatever. Is just human being. We're all human being. We all try to figure life the way we want. We There's some lies out there from both sides, you know. And I don't believe that just living and breathing will go against another person freedom. I mean, I don't think that, you know, just not wear a mask you will kill someone or whatever. And that's the biggest lie, you know. Putting in people's mind that your freedom it should be so small because any move you can do will harm someone else. It's kind of part of the strategy to eliminate freedom, but at the same time, it's our freedom to get informations, to be informed, and to realize that you have the choice. You have the choice, and sometimes freedom is a matter of choice, responsibility, and sacrifices. And power is a matter. So, like I said, we feel powerless a lot these days because of everything that's happened. Even if you agree with all the measures and the mask and everything, you can still feel powerless for what's happening. You have to. You can lose your job right now. Costco is still open, and people can go 1,000 people in Costco at the same time, but they just closed the hairdresser at the same time, and you're like, you're losing your job. The small business are closing down. Some people like me, they cannot see their parents or go away, uh, even if you're born somewhere else. Um, so we can still feel powerless, even like with or without measures. And power is a matter of choice, and freedom is a matter of choice. And I'm not saying like you have the choice to do the revolution or whatever, but it's the way you can feel inside of yourself. And empower yourself with informations, with your choices, and with your own spirit. So what is the power of choice? you know and we all know that the truth right now, for the people who's watching what I'm doing right now, I'm pretty sure that you all got your informations. You are able to differentiate the truth from the lies. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because everybody knows that there's a lot of informations, you have to make the choice to believe this one or not believe this one. You have to discern which information you like. Even if you agree with the measures, you can at least acknowledge that there's a lot of informations that coming from all the sides, and it is your power to choose what you want to believe to. There's no good right or wrong, and we all human beings. It's all in our path to move forward and be able to grow spiritually in our divine path. But the war we in it right now, if I can call it a war, that 2020 evolution transformation, it might be more about the soul than the truth. The truth will come after, in the 5D or something like that, but it's a war of the soul. It's a spiritual war. It's keeping the right to make your own choices, assume your own responsibilities, and keeping your humanity, especially because this is what they're suppressing right now. We can go to work. We have to go to work still, but we cannot see our family, even if they live like an hour away or something. It might be hard later on with the bubbles, and in New Brunswick right now, there's some cities that you cannot gather more than 10 people. So if you're a family of 6 or something, you kind of screwed. um yeah, so, and all sports it's not legal or not lawful to do sports anymore, and blah blah blah. You know the thing. So it's more of a soul war or spiritual war right now that we live. um if And the thing is, for some protesters or some protests, uh, a lot of people are asking for their rights back. But when you ask for some rights back, to have back your rights, is because, and at the second you do that, you give your rights away. I mean, uh, for asking them back, you have to give them away, and your rights is not something you give, or someone take from you, whatever. Your rights is a matter of, it's a state of being. It's a matter of, you're born as a human equal to any other human being, and it's your duty to assume that and say, my rights are unmovable. It's a state of being, and I'm born, I'm divine, and I have all the rights to do whatever I want, because I'm free. I'm a human being. So when you ask for your rights back, you already give them away, and that's kind of a mistake. And freedom, sometimes it's a responsibility. And if you think about some revolution that happened in the past, or some people who fought for their rights, they didn't fight with just signs and beautiful speeches and following some leaders or whatever. But it takes assuming our responsibilities, making some hard choices, some sacrifices maybe, and sweating. It's a hard work to do, and more we have oppression in the world, and more we have to work hard to assume our rights. And I'm not saying talking about like hanging the government or whatever. I think it might be silly to go in violence, but I'm gonna come a little bit later into how we can do that. If we don't let other people make their own choices too, because we want to convince people that we're right to, or we want to keep our rights and our rights are divine or whatever. But we're in a space and time that we it's all a matter of choices. With all the information that is out there, it's not a matter of people are confused or not. People made a choice at one point, and it's either to choose to believe or not believe in this or that. So if you don't let people make their choices, how can you expect them to make how can you expect them to let you make your own? So it's all about acceptation again, and forgiveness, and to let people make their own choices, even if sometimes it doesn't go with what you think. And it's a matter of respect. We have to respect each other and to hold hands, even if we disagree. We have to work together to make the whole world work. Because if not, we're divided, and we give our power in the hands of somebody else, literally. So it's all a matter of rights, freedom, power. It's a power of choices, and you have it because you chose to have it. You chose it, you have it, and it's period. It is what it is. So if you are stubborn on your choices, if you say I made my choices and I will stand by them, you can expect everybody to be stubborn with their own choices. And like I said, what I noticed in the boys is that they create, or they're putting gas on fire right now, because more there's divisions, and more people will be polarized with their own choices. More they're gonna be stubborn with their own choices, and they will create a big polarization of opinions. This is what happens right now, and everybody will be more stubborn, and we will just enforce the problem, the miscommunications, the fights, and everything. And this is what happens right now in the world. And it's been months right now. Everybody has made their choices about what they believe or not. And unfortunately, I'm sorry for some people, but I don't believe that if I breathe close to you and I don't have any symptoms, I can harm you, because they didn't prove it anyway. So and the government, they don't want to give their public health recommendation, or they don't want to say why, or they don't want to give some proofs. So as long as they don't give some proof, I cannot believe them, um, because I don't think in human nature we can be harmful to somebody else if we don't want to be harmful. And we can talk about it. I'm open to change my mind about it, but I need some solid proof to think that I'm harmful to somebody else just by breathing. So some people, they chose to believe the government, and some other people, they chose to believe ourselves and believe in love and compassion and in sharing. Some people chose their communities, and some people chose their government. It's two different way. Um, and if we try to convince each other and to fight with each other, even with protest, we might create more resistance and more polarization in that topic, and more blame on each other. Some people call people sheep, some people call people Karen, some people call people killer. There's a guy that said that came into the rally and said that by rallying like this, even if everybody was respectful and there was not, anyway, I don't want to get into that, but he was saying that we might kill people by doing what we want, and this is kind of a brainwash that is there out there. There's a certain limit about those spreads, and so we think more and more that there's no limits. That as soon as we cross somebody, we can infect them, and this is craziness. But the way you can really show people how freedom works is not by telling them all the information, or it's not about trying to convince them and make them try to change their way of thinking, whatever. Because I think, like I said, people are stubborn in both sides, and it's the exam to make our own choice and stand our own choices. In the Bible, I think it's Jesus that says that at one point. He said that if you can be cold or hot, but if you're in between, if you're warm, you're gonna be vomited by God's mouth or something like that. So yeah, I know the sentence in French, but I mean, at one point, this is the exam in life to make our own choices, and we have to. And everybody that made their own choices and stand by them, I respect them so much. But your freedom stops when mine starts, and I won't change my mind, and you won't change your mind too. So how can we work better together? Is to work by example. By if you can manage yourself and manage your life and make your own consequent choices in your life, you can show them that it's the freedom is not a matter of being oppressed or not. It's about what you do in your own life and how you feel. And sometimes, even if you're a little bit restricted, you can still find a way to feel good. And if you don't like to wear a mask in Walmart or in superstore or whatever, you just you know you can find a way not to go there too much and feel better about it. It's just a small example, um but still, it's I think it's the way we have to manage ourselves, because more we're happy and more we manage ourselves, and the big perk about that, the big advantage is that, if you manage yourself and you're happy in your life, even if there's some restriction, and you're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna feel good anyway. And other people, they live in fear, and they think that they have to wear their masks, and they think that they have to be scared to other people. I think you would feel really better to just deal with your own energy and feel great about your life and grateful about your life, than living in fear, like and scared to be infected by that craziness. So the question I want to ask you right now, it's and I don't want to be judgy about the protest movement. I was in the protest just yesterday anyway, and I got interviewed and everything. But I want to ask some question about what are we doing in that protest. How can we manage our energies? So the question I'm asking you right now is, what are we creating with that protest? Where are we going with those protests, actually? Because protesting, it's a thing. But even if we see the protests in Quebec right now, and like I said, take it as you want. I don't want to be mean about it. But even if there's 50 or 60,000 of people, you can see in Germany, you can see pretty much anywhere in the world. I feel like that even protesting in large number, we don't get an inch. We don't walk an inch forward. Yes, in a matter of socializing and holding hands and everything, it's good. But if we don't want to, if we don't focus on achieving something and just creating resistance, it's just blocking. It's just resisting. But we have to create. We are creative beings anyway, and we have to go there to to create. This is our job in life. Our duty as humans is to create. So we have, even with those protests, just creating a discord and negative energy and resistance. It goes against our divine duty. We have to create something beautiful out of negativity to evolve. That's our own goal. And if you want to hear more about it, I already have a video on it. Just look on my channel. But what is the main goal? You want to go back in Walmart without a mask? Is that what we want to achieve? Are we just want to live anywhere without a mask? Is that the final goal we want? And go back in our life when we work 40 hours a week, or 50 or 60, and we I don't know, watch TV at the end of the day, silly things on TV, for a few hours before going to sleep, while playing video games. I don't know. And the thing is, we still live in a world where big pharma and the big companies, with using lobbyism, can control politics, and The politicians are putting things that we don't like on our plate, whatever, and they're spraying all our food or whatever. And we are on the verge of another crisis anyway. I don't think that the coronavirus will bring the old change till 2030. I think that a savior will come and everybody will be seduced by that savior, but it's going to make a big change, a big reset. You have the big picture. And but we're on the verge of another crisis. If it's another virus, and we can like work on coronavirus and have the vaccine and everything, and if another virus comes, we're gonna start from beginning and wait for another 2 years for another virus or something. Even the people who works on that, they know that it's not the plan, to wait for a vaccine or to just focus on that special virus, because there's a lot out there. And if it's not the virus, anyway, it's gonna be the climate change or something like that. But we are still on the verge of another crisis. So another question that I have to ask you is, what do you think? Where do you think we're gonna be in 5 years or in 10 years? And what life you wanna give to your kids? If it's not you that makes your own freedom, you're gonna leave that world to your kids, and your kids gonna leave that world to it's a never-ending story if we just want to create resistance and go back to where we were at. And since we live the transformation right now, it might be time to create your own freedom and create your own rights, actually, without bugging the others. This is not what I'm saying, but the question is, what are we willing to accept to live our normal life? Because like I said, we um if what kind of measures do you think they're gonna put more, or like they want to add up on the one we still live? And what if they remove some measures? If they remove the mask, will you be happy, or are you willing to accept that as okay, let's go back to normal, to the next crisis? And what are we willing to sacrifice to go forward? So a lot of people are complaining about, and it's sad even in New Brunswick, there's some place right now that the kids, they have to keep their mask all day long now, like even in their classroom and everything. And if you don't agree with that, what are you willing to sacrifice to change that? You want to keep your comfort or your job or your big car or your house, and let your kids go through that? Or you can it's, and I'm not saying that in a mean way or in a bad way. I'm saying that sometimes freedom requires sacrifices, and everybody's strong enough to make those decisions. If you are in a unhealthy relationship with a guy or a woman that beats you up, or whatever your situation, you have the freedom to make the move, and to say, I don't want that anymore. And it's the same thing with those measures right now. You still have the freedom, but it might take sacrifices. Some, like I said, if you're not good in your relationship, you might lose a lot to gain your freedom back. But it's your choice, like everybody's choice. And I'm not saying that in a light way. It's a heavy and it's tough, but we all divine. We all have inner light, and you can do it. You can do pretty much whatever you want because you are a divine creator as human beings, and we're all there connecting with each other, and we can have everybody's back. That's the real meaning of freedom. And the thing too is that a lot of people right now are waiting for a savior too. There's Stéphane Blais in Quebec, Rocco Galati, that are suing the government right now in Canada. There's Donald Trump and Q in the United States. There's Jesus. Why not? But at the same time, I'm saying that one of the exam right now in life is to make our own choices. The thing is that if we give our power in the end of another savior, even if it saves the world, you will not achieve the exam, because the exam is to be autonomous. Is to find back your own power and your own divinity, your own sovereignty, and keep it for yourself. So some people might come and do good things for the corruption, the children in the world, whatever. But at the same time, if you give that power to somebody else, you don't completely understand what's going on, because we are at that time, that period of life where the real exam is to keep your own power and grasp it, and have a hold on your own power and say that I'm gonna be my own savior anyway, because you're gonna be your own savior at the end. You are your own savior. You have your inner light. You are your own God, and you have to realize it. You have to, and not even realize it. Actually, you have to remember it, because this is the goal of life. This is the exam. Remembering our own divinity, remembering our own God, inside of ourselves. So it's the exam, and waiting for a savior can be good, but it can be a little bit tricky or a trap. Let's say I have that cup here. There's a tea in it, but let's say I have that cup here, and I said that it's going to take 10 years to fill it up with water, and the whole society is in the cup, and I'm just filling that cup with water. Even if we think that a lot of people, like right now, the first year of that 10 years, we have a lot of water, um, and we're like, okay, we need to find a way, we need a savior or whatever to remove some water, because we don't want to be full anyway. We know that it's going to take 10 years, so if I'm smart, I'm going to try to fill that cup with like one drop at a time. I have 10 years. So let's say I want to trick you a little bit. I'm going to fill it up like a quarter through or halfway through, and then I'm gonna call a savior to have a sip. Everybody will be happy for that savior. Everybody will be happy to welcome those measures that is gonna be taken away, or whatever. But the matter of fact is, for me, I know that I still have 9 years to continue to fill it up. And even if a pot of water it's coronavirus, let's say, oh, I'm done with coronavirus, I'm gonna put another kind of water in it. But the main goal is to fill it up, and we have 10 years. So, and in the Bible, they said that, in the book of Revelation, they said that the second beast, or the second um, wave, let's say, it's gonna be a seducing wave. Everybody will be seduced by those waves. So we've got to be careful about any saviors or false messiah, because they can seduce you by taking away some measures, or giving you back some rights, or finding some solution to give you health or whatever. But at the end of the day, we got to be careful, because we're gonna see, we have to have a move ahead of on the chess game, a move ahead of what's going on, and see where we're going with all of that, with those global goals and everything. Because like I said, they have 10 years, and it's a bit like, I watch a guy in French on YouTube. He's really really great. His name is Claude Lafleur, and he explained what was going in the world with that savior paradigm, like wrestling match. It's like you have the NWO, and they, even in wrestling, they were called like that. They were creating some chaos. And now they were sending someone else from the other gang, I don't know, Steve Austin, the good guy, 316, to fight against Hulk Hogan or whatever, and to free the old WWE or WC, whatever, sorry. And all of that was still sorry, all of that was still a show. There was still the promoter on top of that wrestling match. They create that duality. They create that good, bad against good, duality, good against evil, and they create that, and they make money on top of that. And it's a bit like that. I'm not saying it's like that, but I'm saying that we got to be aware that it's gonna take 10 years, and for the next 10 years, we have to be aware of what's going on. Um, and you're gonna be your own savior, like I said. If you're sit down there at that wrestling match, and you realize that while you see that show, bad versus good, in front of you, you realize that they're building a cage all around the outside of the stadium, all around the stadium. It's your own job to say, okay, I gotta find an escape plan, because something bad's going on. So you're gonna be your own savior, and we need everybody. Everybody is divine, and everybody is essential, and we need everybody to work uh, in an escape plan, let's say, to be sure, you know. And I don't know if you read the Art of War, the Sun Tzu. It's really good, not just for duality like this with the government or whatever, or in a war, but it's also good to talk about um, in your life when you confront someone, even if it's with a speech or whatever. I recommend that book, really good, and it took me a long time to get into that book because I thought it was just like about war, and I don't like war at all. I'm more of a healer soul than a warrior soul. But war is a matter of defense too, and you know we live in a world that we have to defend ourselves. So I want to read you a quote here. Um, Being prepared for all circumstances is what ensures certain victory, for it means you are fighting an enemy who is already beaten. Thus, a great soldier first places himself in an invincibility position and then ensures he does not miss the crucial opportunity to defeat the enemy. A successful army first ensures invincibilities and only then engages the enemy. A vanquished army will have gone into battle first and only then looked for the means of victory. A great strategist follows his moral compass and adheres to his methods of regulation, for these are the means by which he determines victory or defeat. And this is what I'm asking, by what are we doing with those protests? Because you know we cannot just jump in battle without knowing what we want to do, how we want to transform the society with it. You know, I'm talking about transformation all along all my other videos there, and we have to know what we want to do with the society to assure a victory. Because if we ensure a victory, sorry, if we don't and we just battle to battle, we're gonna lose. And creating a division between two sides, it's the perfect plan to make people forget why they're fighting for or what they want to establish in life, you know. And this is what's going on right now. And I'm not talking about violence or battle, but like I said, it's a spiritual war, and we have to know what we want to do with our own soul to be able to go ahead and establish the life we want, create the life we want, you know. So we need a common ground altogether, and to hold hands to create an invincibility, to be able to be invincible against those repression, against those rules that we don't agree with. We need an escape plan just in case, you know, because we can fight and fight, and you know the thing is, even if we fight and we resist or whatever, if we don't have any escape plan, even if we fight, it's gonna mean we will just have to fight until death, you know, because we don't have any escape plan anyway. So just put all our energy out there and wait until it's the end, you know. And I'm sorry to say that, but they have a bigger army than ours right now. But if we have an escape plan, a plan that we can create a fortress and invincibility, it's gonna be better to win that paradigm, you know. If we look for the battle first and then the victory, we will sign the defeat right away. We need to have our own way to protect ourselves before attacking. If attacking is a solution anyway, because we can just defend ourselves and having our own ground to defend ourselves. So what is that invincibility? You know, first, and pretty much everybody is already good doing that right now. It's to refuse. We have to refuse their true lies, you know, to say it's like this, it's like that, you have to comply, you can make your own researches and ensure your own capacity of discerning true and lies. And I'm not saying what is true or what is not true. Nobody really knows what is true or what is not true, but you can make it your choice to believe what you want to believe. And yeah, this is the first step to achieving your own invincibility. The second step, and by doing that first step, you grasp and you have a hold on your inner light, and you realize that you're divine and you deserve your own autonomous mind and way of thinking and way of growing. You deserve that like every other human being in life. And just the fact that it's on a global scale right now, it means that there's something going on with humanity itself, and not just rules to protect people. It's a big transformation of the old world, and you have to where the old world is losing his humanity actually, and you have to say no. I'm gonna keep my humanity, and I'm divine for the person I am, and you are all divine. If you agree or not with me, it's something, but you are all divine for sure. And so, second step, it might be to start to think about living without the government. And it's harder and harder, and more that we're gonna evolve into those global goals, more it's gonna be hard. So may as well start to think about it right now. What can I do to live without the government right now? And it's not something that you can just jump from one day to another and say, um, I'm gonna I'm gonna live without the government tomorrow. If you can, good for you. But sometimes it takes a lot of preparation. It takes a lot of steps to follow and everything. But it's doable for everybody. And actually, I find it a little bit exciting to return back to a life where we it's gonna be harder to work. And especially in winter. But if we're well surrounded, it's gonna be even more fun to survive or to sustain our own life than work for a boss in a job that yeah, we're happy with our money, but it doesn't lead us somewhere or whatever. So we can see it that way, and be happy to find another way of life. The thing is, like, and I asked that question before, what are you willing to sacrifice to achieve that? We all have a lot of sacrifices to do this, but you have 10 years to think about that. Is your credit score is important for you? And what if you don't agree with the next shot, let's say the next vaccines, and I think it's your right to agree or not agree with vaccines or something, but what if you don't agree with the next vaccine and you lose your credit score because of that, or you lose your house because of that? Because if we follow the goals at one point, and that social scores, or AI ID, or whatever you want to call it, we're gonna go there where it's gonna be harder and harder to manage our money and manage our or have a job or sell or buy or whatever, or travel. So what are you willing to sacrifice to keep your own divinity, to keep your own soul? Or you want to sell your soul to have more comfort in life, take that mark, take that vaccines, comply with the mask and everything, and at least you're gonna have your big house and your big car. It's all a matter of sacrifices, and there's no bad or good choices. They're just consequent choices, and that bring consequences, and you can live with pretty much every consequences. But you don't want to wake up too late and say, I should have kept my freedom. Because that fight, that war that we're living right now, it's gonna hit your door at one point. If it's not now, if it didn't happen with the job or the closing of things or the mask, at one point there's something, because they're gonna continue to add up and add up and add up, and at one point there's one thing that you might say, I don't agree with that thing. And it might be too late at one point, and or harder to get out of the system. And this is the thing with the protest. It shows that we are a number, and we can hold ends together. But it's not our signs or our beautiful speech like this. If it's beautiful, I don't know. I'm just saying beautiful speeches at protest or whatever, that's gonna make Higgs or Lego or the Democrats or whatever stop the old world to in that change. We cannot just make pressure on one government and say, oh, I hope he's gonna change his mind, even if no other government changed their mind in so far. My government, with my pressure, will change, and we're gonna go back to normal. I don't think it's possible, or it's something that would happen. It's not more likely to happen anyway, that like Higgs here, Blaine Higgs, will change his mind and say, no, 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 New Brunswick, we're done with that, and we're gonna change the old face of that crisis, and we're gonna save the world. It's not something that will happen, and it's not with our signs and our speeches. that it's gonna happen, but we can find that freedom with our own actions, and just to say to Blaine Higgs that we don't need him to rule our life, and even if it takes to get away a little bit from the society and from the city, and all dance by sharing resources, um, and food, and finding another way to live than just depending on the government, you know. Lao Tzu, another student of Confucius, I should right here, from the Tao Te Ching, another student from Confucius, is saying that the best teachers are teaching without teaching. They're teaching without speaking. The good teacher, the good leader, is teaching with his actions, and when he's done, he's satisfied. He doesn't seek glory, and he's gonna be ready to leave and to for his next teaching the next time, you know. And I think we can relate to that and say that it's not by convincing people or with signs and speeches that we can teach the world, we can show the world, but it's by doing it ourselves, you know. And it's possible to go out of the government. It's still legal right now, so we should maybe try to take the opportunity and to hold the hands out together and to connect our inner light, our freedom. And you know, freedom is exponential. You know, you have your freedom inside of yourself, like I said, but if we were two or five or 10 or 100 together, our freedom just can shine so much more, because we're so much more empowered by that light that resides inside of ourselves and makes us live, survive, and even create divinity itself, you know. So what are the tangible solutions now for getting away from the government? You know, I'm pretty sure you already heard about survivalism, and preparing yourself for any crisis, just to have a spot with food and water and all survival kits. But the matter of fact is, surviving is pretty hard, and especially in winter. And we should have a crew or a gang that we can say, okay, or lands or something that we can say, okay, let's make it differently. And then I'm not talking about creating a commune where it's so spiritual and so clingy and so where we live like hippie and organize orgy or whatever like that. No, I'm just saying that we can team up with some gardeners, we can team up with some teachers, we can team up with some engineers to create the electricity system and water system and whatever. There's It's a hard job, and like I said, it's not something we can do like from one day to another, but we can start to work on that to make sense out of that in years, you know, and have a real escape plan from that society that we don't agree with anyway. So tangible solutions, we can stop first encouraging the big companies. You know, I know that all the restaurant will close anyway. I think it's part of the plans, and the McDonald's will still be keep open, and you will have the choice to eat your own organic food, organic vegetables, and make your own food, or go to eat at McDonald's. You know, same thing for Walmart. Even if you're fighting to go in a Walmart without a mask, the fact is that you're gonna still give your money to a company that is promoting child labor in other countries. So your freedom of not wearing a mask will still encourage that company to promote child labor in another country. So still, freedom is so large that, you know, we gotta see the whole picture and just say, okay, what is we're wearing a mask or not when we encourage some child labor, you know, or a lot of demons in that world are with those big companies. And there's a lot of beautiful and really good local farms around you, in your province, in your states. In New Brunswick here, there's a lot of beautiful local farms. They're ready to expand, and we can also create our own um, greenhouses. And I saw beautiful things about like it's under the ground greenhouses, actually, you know, that you can even you can farm in winter and everything. So there's still a lot of options that we can work on and expand everybody if we all put the effort, everybody together, you know. We can create a fund, a GoFundMe or something for the people who are will lose a little bit more or will struggle a little bit more because if you struggle, if we are to struggle and we're 1,000 that are networking together, you know, even if you were willing to struggle, even if there's 10 people that struggle, there might be 990 people behind you that can say, okay, I can help you. You know, I can make extra bread today and give you some bread and water and you know clothes and whatever. So if we hold hands, it's sure that people will struggle. You know, if you do nothing or if you do something, there's a lot of people that are losing their job, a lot of small businesses that are closing. It's not, I don't think it's going to stop soon. Let's see for the next American election, but even there, you are your own savior. So, but if we all hold hands together and connect with the people that are more fortunate and people that are will more sacrifice thing, we can make sense out of this and have each other's back, you know. And that's the real meaning of freedom. Actually, it's not waiting for the government to have serve and to you know whatever. The real meaning of freedom is when everybody has everybody's back, and this is where we're going anyway with the civilization. And we can network everybody together. I started a website. Even if you're not from New Brunswick, you can even sign. It's a Facebook group actually. It's called As One Community NB, as One Community NB, and you can join the group. I will accept pretty much everybody right now just to be able to network about community, about ideas, about sharing what we can share and bonding with everybody just to be sure that we can have each other's back. I don't have anything to offer right now, like money wise or whatever, but I'm willing to take the lead and at least connect everybody together. So as one community on Facebook, as one community NB. So and we can network to share or to bring money on the table or lands for people who want to share their lands and help people build some little houses there or whatever community wise, building some, if there's some builders, some people that uh, uh, they want to participate into like buildings, new little houses, and you know learn how to build things, resources. And you know one big mistake is to say that not every jobs are essentials, you know, because every jobs are essentials and every human being are essentials, period. Nobody can take that off, you know, away from you, even if it's clientele service, even if it's cook, working in gardening, whatever, you know, every job is essential, and we will need to network all those jobs together. We need teachers. We need teachers to teach. I know in France right now it's kind of forbidden to homeschool, but you know we have to find our way, because if we don't agree with the school system, my kid doesn't belong to the system, but it belongs to me. Um, so we need teachers, we need engineers, we need builders, we need all those jobs, you know, mechanics, name it, you know, cooks, gardeners. We need people who make clothes, people who make, we need hunters, whatever you want to be. We all have passions. This is a beautiful thing about the movement and about everybody in life. It's everybody has their own passions. Now we have the tools to learn more and more about those passions, you know, with YouTube and everything. I know it's not the best platform, but at the same time, if you can learn your passions, learn how to I have a text on ego. I'm gonna talk about ego next video, because I think it's important to learn how we can take our passions and make people shine with it and give our passions to other people in a way that it would be the best way to contribute in life. You know, not working in a job that you don't like all your life for a boss that is gonna be more rich at the end of the day. You know, but having your own passions and bringing your passions on the table to, even if it's like writing stories, or you know you can write stories for kids, or you know there's a lot of way to create with your passions. And it's time to all connect our passions and our inner light together to be able to create a better world, right? and not just working to work and to try to make sense of a 50-hour work, and going back at home and still thinking about your work that is not going to bring you nowhere at the end of the night or at the end of the day. Maybe you're going to have a good pension or something at the end, but yeah. So mixing all our passions together, bringing something tangible on the table to be able to have each other's back, it is a real way to freedom, and it's a matter of choice, responsibilities, and sacrifices. But we can do it, and we can do it without the government. If we find a way to create our invincibility that way, and the government say, okay, I'm gonna take that away, and we're gonna be like, yeah, but I don't need that right anymore because I'm sustainable. I can just live my own life with what I need without any help of the government, or whatever. And this is where they will have to start to be really evil and claim rights over your children, and claim rights over your health, and claim rights. If you don't give them, if you don't depend on them, you take back your rights, if you want, or you assume your rights, and then they will have to go into your ground to steal things from you. And this is where really the battle will begin. But right now we have to build that invincibility and that common ground, and we can work it out. In my book, I checked the whole country, like I said, and there's always that theory of, it's a crazy hitchhiker theory. They try to make us think that every hitchhikers are murderer hitchhikers, and if you dare to hitchhike yourself, someone's gonna get you in their car, and they're gonna kill you too. So everybody can kill each other, and that's kind of crazy because and they, you know, and they will say that the government, if you just don't hitchhike and you just wait for the government, they will provide for you. But at the same time, nobody will kill you if there's millions of hitchhikers that hitchhike every year, and there's bad stories happen everywhere, of course, but at the same time, the only person who will try to stop you for hitchhiking, and even the bad story I heard, it's all about the police stopping people and bringing people really far from what they wanted to be, or being arrested and be thrown in prison or whatever. So they try to say that the government will provide, and all hitchhikers are crazy. But you know what? We all hitchhikers in life, and we're all hitchhikers in our own path. And you're not crazy, and I'm not crazy. We're just evolving all together. And the government can try to stop us to evolve, but at one point we will have to grasp our own freedom, and to have a hold on our own freedom. So I will call it to say that it's kind of time to stop fighting first. And you can continue to protest or not. I'm nobody to tell you what to do or not. But it's time to stop fighting, and to focus on your own invincibility, on your own common ground. It's time to hold hands together, each other, everybody, and just be proud of your own divinity, of your own freedom, your own humanity. And it's time to be a family altogether, and to have each other's back, and work together to build or create our common ground, create our invincibility, to be able to really resist our own way. We'll be able to if they put some measures and we don't need them to, and it won't affect us because we have our own life in our side. It won't affect us. They can do whatever they want. After that, you create your own freedom without them, instead of depending on them and giving your freedom away. You are strong. First, you have to realize that you are so strong and so divine, that if you just have to decide to keep that freedom for yourself, and you have it. It's simple as it is. It takes effort, it takes responsibilities, but you are strong, you are divine, and because you are human, you have some freedom. It's a state of being. But it's time to make sacrifices to reach those goals, and it's time also to open our heart, open our arm, and to make sacrifices, and to support the one who will lose the most, because some people will lose, maybe me, maybe you, never know. But it's time to support each other, because um, some people will lose things, and we're gonna still be divided between who's right or who's wrong or whatever. But once once we will have the right way to live, we will present our own freedom to the world by holding in and by working together. It's not going to be a matter of who's right or wrong, but that's going to be a matter of who wants to join our reality, you know. And if we forgive people and we accept what's going on in the world instead of resisting and create our own world, our own reality, we're going to be able to open our arms widely and to welcome anybody who wants to give you a big hug and say, I'm with you. You convinced me that your world looks really awesome, actually, you know, amazing, easy and simple. A lot of effort, but you know, it's that or working 50 hours a week with a boss or a job that brings me nowhere anyway. And maybe it's bringing you somewhere. I'm not judging or whatever. I'm just saying that, you know, there's another way to live, and we can, it's time to create it all together. And when is more we're going to advance into that path, more we can open our arms and welcome everybody else that are willing to try, because it might be scary, that change of lifestyle, that knowledge that we lost for years or even centuries, but it's doable. And you can you know, I find it a little bit exciting to do, actually, and say that, yeah, let's go there all together, you know. It's a challenge at the same time, but it's time to forgive everybody, to accept what's going on, and it's time to forgive even the people who doesn't think who don't think like you. It's time to forgive the politicians and the medias. It's time to forgive everybody and just to mind your own business and create your own world without any resentment, without any bad feelings, but just say, okay, I'm out. I'm gonna work on myself. You know, it's time to can food. It's time to have your own systems of making your own. It's time to learn about new recipes, new way of living. Actually, you know, and life is changing right now anyway, that you want it or not. Life is changing, life is transforming. I don't think it's going to be the same ever again, so it's kind of the moment that we have to create what we want, the lifestyle we want. And more the you make drastic change in your life, more you're going to have drastic results. And I think we're up to some drastic results right now, and to a better world without without oppression, you know, a better world where we can all dance and share whatever we want to create our reality. So it's time to create. It's time to create a new world. It's time to create harmony, compassion, love, and freedom, you know. Like I said, I create that group on Facebook. If you want to join, it is as one community NB, ASONE, in one word, community NB for New Brunswick. But even if you're outside, we can make it work as well, just to network and to talk about how we can create a new world as one community NB. And like I said, I don't have money right now or land or whatever to bring on the table. But I have a vision and I have a dream right now, and I welcome you in my dream, in my vision, and I welcome you to work with me into that new normal that we can create all together. Because that freedom, we can achieve it if everybody's willing to hold hand and to make effort for the better good of everybody and for the freedom. So thank you very much, everybody. That was another of my podcast. I'm gonna finish it here. My name is Mick. That was D'un inconnu à l'autre, about freedom from a stranger to another. And if you like that video, you can subscribe to the channel. And yeah, love you guys. Be informed, be safe, be strong. I love you. There you go. Namaste.